is
The
knowing that
only
you cannot
logical
know.
explanation is that there's an infinite being that created it.
Well,
Every other thing breaks a law of logic. So if you're going to agree with the law of logic, then you have to, and you're going to say that the universe was created or began at some point.
I'm
Then
saying
you
that
have
I
to
do
say
not
that it's
know.
created by a being.
I'm saying that I
That's the
do
only
not
logical
know,
position.
and I know that I don't know.
Well, by deduction, we can come to the conclusion that if the universe was created or began, then the only logical explanation is that something created it.
Well,
That's it.
that is a form of our human constructs. We that's the way we're programmed to think.
So, I mean, if we agree with laws of logic, if you're going to disagree with laws of logic, that's fine. If laws of logic are just human constructs, then there's nothing to talk about.
Well,
Like if you said the universe,
I'm not saying that there isn't a God. I'm not saying there is a God. I'm saying that I don't fucking know, and I'm not going to pretend like I know.
you're saying it's impossible to know. If everything's a human construct, then it's impossible to know anything.
In this arena, yes, I think it is impossible to know. I don't believe that we humanly have the capacity to understand the laws of the universe as they as they are away from our planet. I mean, physics could work completely different, you know, light years
Sure.
away. You know, I mean, I don't fucking know, and I'm not going to pretend to know. But I'm also not going to have faith in a book that was written by a man.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But if it
Well,
costs
I mean,
brings you
you
comfort,
obviously do. I mean, how do you know about physics? How do you know about logic? I'm sure you've read about it
yeah.
in a book written by a man.
If it brings you comfort,
Well, how do you know? How do you know that the sun's the center of the universe? You read it in a book.
I don't. I don't.
Well, a lot of things that you act on and you think you know, or at least you act like you know, you read in a book by a man.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good argument.
But I place more trust in observable evidence and not blind faith. I understand that there are limitations to both ways of thinking. I understand that. But my way of thinking is if I can observe something.
Do you believe in moral truths?
I'd like to.
But you don't.
I'd like to. I really would enjoy. I'd like to.
Well, at the base of science or observable experimentation, what you're talking about is a moral truth. Why should I look for a lie rather than truth? Why should I look for truth rather than a lie? Excuse me.
Well, you shouldn't.
I shouldn't look for a truth rather than a lie? Isn't that what I'm doing when I'm doing science?
No. You should look for a truth rather than a lie.
Right. So that's a moral statement.
I suppose it is.
So there must be objective morality then, because at the basis of science even is an objective moral. I can't prove that.
Are you a utilitarian?
No. There's places where utilitarianism should be used, though.
Kantian?
Not everywhere. What?
Kantian?
No. I'm a Platinian if you want to put it somewhere like that. I like Plotinus a lot.
My philosophy teachers called me an epistemological Socratic subjectivist.
Well, I mean, they should play Socratic objectivist.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Because Socrates was definitely believed in an objective, independent world.
He's my God. I mean, well, I was to say my God, but like he's my go-to.
Yeah. I mean, Socrates believed in God. That's all. And there's also other, moral truths in science that are used. Like I should be sincere and honest with my data that I find. Not mess with the experiment to get the result that I want.
Yeah, totally.
Other things like that.
That alone. I mean, anyone who has any sort of moral integrity would not do that.
Yeah, I mean, so science is presupposing moral truths and moral objectivism on the outset.
But there's
like
more.
Francis Bacon, the guy that created the scientific method, was a Christian, and he said that scientific method wouldn't make sense if Christianity wasn't true, because of that very fact, and the fact that God, grounds everything in rationality, allows the universe to be understood.
I wish I could believe. I really do.
I mean, that's what the Bible says. That's what God's original purpose for us was. It says in Genesis, says God gave us the faculties and ability to understand the world, and that we should take care of the world and subdue it with our mental faculties that we have. So I mean, the Bible on the outset presupposes or argues for an independent reality that is the external world, that it's different than me. It's different than my thoughts in my head. And my mind is capable of understanding the external world, and I'm able to study the external world and learn about it.
Well, I respect your outlook, totally. Because everyone has the right to their own beliefs. Everyone has the right to their own. No one has the right to their own facts. Everyone has the right to their own opinions and their own beliefs, and I'm not going to smash on yours just to make myself look better. I just honestly, I wish that I could go back in time. Honestly, I wish that I could go back in time and believe again. And honestly, a lot of it had to do with me being a homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing the grand hypocrisy within religious organizations and within religious belief. And
sure, I totally agree with that.
In the way that the Protestant church has so many fucking brands, and so many brands of Protestantism clash with each other. And some believe in rapture, some don't, and some believe that other Protestants aren't going to heaven. Some believe in predetermination, some don't, and it's like, what the fuck, It's like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the issues that I have. And
sure, yeah, no, I agree that there's corruption and there's too many splits. Like the church wasn't supposed to split at all. Like who cares about theological points? That's not the point anyway.
Well, the problem is that there are men that believe that they understand what God wrote and that they understand how to interpret it, and they feed it down to their underlings, and their underlings just lap it up. And it's really all opinion. Yeah. It's really all opinion.
I mean, the Bible disagrees with them. Like in 1 Corinthians, it talks about how the only person that knows God is God, nobody else. The only way you can know God is if you have God. And that's just God understanding God. It's not you doing that.
Yeah.
So when people get pompous and say that this is the way it is, it's very bad and dangerous, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dangerous to do that. But I mean, at the same time, though, those are people, and people mess up, and people are bad, and
I have problems with the translations. I mean, if I can't read Aramaic, I don't even know if I'm reading the real Bible. You know what I mean?
right. And I forgot what the study of text is. Has a certain name. But anyway, like we have the Bible more in completion than we do, like Plato or Aristotle, or in terms of like knowing what the original document said. Like, we know more what the original Bible said than we do any other text from that period.
If I could read Greek
after that period too.
I'd read the Bible, but I can't. So I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah. They all went to bed, I think.
Huh?
They all went to bed.
Yeah. Wish I could go to sleep.
Why can't you?
Slept too much yesterday.
I did too. I slept pretty much all day.
Yeah, I did too. I slept around like 3. My brother's in the hospital right now, so I haven't had to be like responsible all the time, 24/7 with him. So I've had a little bit of a break. So I've been catching up on rest.
Why is he in the hospital?
Well, we have a hydraulic lift that picks him up. It's got a sling, and we put it under him, and a hydraulic lift that lifts him up from his bed and puts him in his wheelchair. And when we were moving it, it fell, which it was not supposed to fucking do. It's the hydraulic, the angle and the center of gravity is supposed to make it unfuckable. But he fell, and he broke his femur and his hip. And
Hello.
he's been in the hospital for he's been in the hospital for about a week and a half now, and he's been on heavy painkillers, and he always gets backed up from the opiates, and he's had to be cathed, and it's just a fucking mess. But yeah, he broke his femur. They didn't catch it. They had to do 2 surgeries. They thought he just broken his femur.
How do you not catch something like that? It's a big bone to break like that.
When they went to they did a CT CAT scan of his bowels to make sure he wasn't obstructed. They saw that he had broken his hip as well, so he had to have a second surgery in like 2 weeks. And like my brother is, it's so tough taking care of him. He weighs like 170 pounds. He weighs more than I do. Like it's rough. It sucks. I love him though. We wouldn't have him in a home to save our lives.
How old is he?
He's 34. But he has his last epileptic seizure sent him into paranoid schizophrenia, so he's like not with us anymore, kind of. So it's like a thankless job that I have to do 24 hours, 7 days a week. I have to be here at 9 a.m., 3 p.m., 9 p.m. I never get to leave, basically. But it's just sad because the way his body is, he's been sitting in a wheelchair for 34 years. His organs are all fucked up. He's had his back, his entire spine is fused together. And every time he goes into the hospital, he's had to have 2 units of blood given to him. Every time he goes to the hospital, he gets, backed up